Hi, my name is Amara Enyia. I'm a public policy consultant and executive director of the Austin Chamber of Commerce. Today I'm speaking with 29th Ward Committeeman and State Representative LaShawn Ford. We're having a conversation about his vision, his work, and why he's running for the committeeman's seat. This is an opportunity for you to learn more about him and his positions and hopefully take that information into the voting booth on March 15th. So, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Dr. Enyia.
So just to kind of start off, telling people who you are, you're the state representative representing a large portion of the Austin community, the West Side generally. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and sort of your motivations in becoming a public servant.
So I'm State Representative LaShawn Ford, and I am a former teacher for the Chicago Public Schools and real estate broker and licensed insurance agent and a father to Tia Ford. She's 11 years old, a sixth grader. She's growing up so fast. I can remember when she was just 6. She's growing up, and I'm proud of her. But you know, I've been living on the West Side for over 42 years, and been living in the 29th Ward for 20 years. And I just think that it's time for us to have someone that's really about building the community and not dealing with politics, you know, because what I see now and what I've seen over the past years on the West Side is politicians using the committeeman spot to advance their own agenda. The people have my word that a committeeman spot with me being in that spot will not be to advance my political career. It's about advancing the West Side and to make sure that we have a real seat at the table and make sure that people are not circulating petitions and passing flyers and you have meetings just to advance your political desires. And that's what it appears to me what the committeeman spots are all about on the West Side.
So what prompted you to get involved as a public servant? You said that you were a teacher in Chicago Public Schools and you moved into the realm of politics. What drove you into politics?
Well, living on the West Side and being a teacher and knowing how the struggle, Dr. Enyia, you know the struggle of Chicago Public School teachers. So I taught for the Chicago Public Schools, but I went to private schools. I went to Catholic schools all my life, so I saw the difference. And it's that being in the classroom, working for Chicago Public Schools, along with the conditions of the West Side, drove me to run for public office. I mean, not Bill Gates, where I could write big checks to help the community, or Oprah Winfrey. So, you know, I'm not as much as a real hard activist. I like public policy, and I like to do things. So I think that it's a good fit for some time. I don't know about forever.
Yeah. So what are the areas that you have focused on? What are the top issues that you, in your time as a public servant, have decided to put your focus?
You know, criminal justice reform. In fact, I started what you call the Restorative Justice Committee in Springfield, and I'm happy to say that that's been a great committee that was formed. It was my child I birthed and thought of, and now restorative justice is in Springfield, and it's a conversation. You don't always have to pass bills to change the hearts and minds of people, but when you start talking about restorative justice, then people start thinking differently. And so criminal justice reform, making sure that everyone has equal access to the real liberties that life in this country is supposed to give. And we know that ex-offenders and people that may have messed up in this country, once you mess up, you almost have no second chance. And so that's why that's been my passion. There are like 70 million people in this country alone that have some form of a background. And so with that, I mean, if we really want Illinois, if we really want the West Side to be great, you have to have someone that cares about those issues.
Can you talk a little bit more about the bipartisan efforts for criminal justice reform in Springfield? I was actually on a panel with Representative Ron Sandak, and he was talking about just in Springfield how the issue of criminal justice reform has gained a following, where people are paying attention more on both sides of the aisle. Can you talk about how it's brought people together and what you see is happening in the future on this issue?
Well, I think that Illinois now, in this budget crunch, we have to find ways to save money, and we know that the criminal justice system in Illinois is costing the state billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. So people realize you can't be what you call penny wise and pound foolish, mm-hmm. and you know that you can't have nonviolent individuals in prison when it's not going to reform them. You have to have them in treatment centers. You have to make sure that you divert people from prison if they have drug or alcohol problems into a treatment center. So what we see in Illinois and many other parts of the country, you see people going to jail when they really should be in treatment centers. And I think that's why Illinois is moving toward criminal justice reform more, because we can't afford to keep locking people up when they shouldn't be in there. And with President Obama having a Affordable Care Act, now if we divert these people to treatment, they could use their health insurance, they could use Medicaid. And so I think that's where we're headed, you know.
So can you talk a little bit more about your vision as a state representative? A large part of your district is on the west side. Austin is a big part of that. Can you talk about your vision for the communities that you serve as state representative, and then how that would tie in as committeemen? Mm-hmm. What do you see as the connection point between your vision as state rep and then your role as a committeeman?
Yeah, so you've been with the chamber, the lead of the Austin Chamber. You understand business. And I know that it just sort of troubles you when you look to the west of Austin and you see a thriving community. Then you just look east and you go just past the African American communities and you see thriving communities. And so I think that the advantage of my district that I serve, we have Oak Park, LaGrange Park, North Riverside, and Western Springs and Berwyn, and then Austin. So we see what works. It works when you have opportunities for businesses to come in, when you have a relationship with the community where you could, people will have jobs to go to so that they could get up and go to work. Because you see it in Oak Park. You see people going to the train, going to the blue line, going to the green line to go to work every day. But we don't have those same opportunities in Austin because our school system is not equal to that in Oak Park. So we are not creating a real workforce in Austin. And so my vision is to use the best practices that we see in Oak Park, we see in North Riverside, we see in LaGrange, and bridge that gap and have those people come and help us in the Austin community. And that's what I've been trying to do, get help from those communities so that we can show best practice and show how it works. You know, with the committeeman spot, it's a very valuable spot to have. And some people think that the alderman should be the committeeman. Well, in the past, people would say that that's the case because that's when you had the patronage system where they were able to get jobs. So they used the committeemen to go out and do precinct work, to knock on doors and provide services so that they could have those relationships with the community so that they could get the votes. Well, there is not an organization on the west side that's providing the services like that at this time. So what we have now is a situation where in the city, 21 out of 50 aldermen are not committeemen. So that tells us right there that the alderman is not automatically supposed to be the committee person. And beside that, if he or she was, then there wouldn't be a separate election. And so I think that given the fight that we're in Springfield, given the fight that we're in with the city of Chicago for equal funding for education on the west side, we have to have someone that's down there voting on the budget in Springfield that could sit at that table with Mike Madigan and all those other committeemen to say that, you know what, we know what this seat is all about. It's about you wanting to support for candidates that you want. And that gives leverage in Springfield. You know, we're still struggling in Austin right now to have a quality traditional high school. And I've been fighting for a quality traditional high school in Springfield for a very long time. A committeeman spot puts the state rep position in a different category to fight for the 29th Ward and all of the West Side. It's just going to change the dynamics. And the city, you hear the city all the time saying we need Springfield to fix our pension system. We need Springfield to give us more money for education. We need Springfield to give us more money for parks and streets and safety. Well, that's fine. What we know and what I know is that money is probably going to go to the city, but who is going to say, if I vote for this, then part of this has to go to the west side. Part of this, once you go to send this money to the city, normally the aldermen, they're supposed to appropriate it. So in Springfield, we appropriate the funds, we send it straight to city council, and they appropriate the funds to go out into the community. Well, now that puts me in a situation where now I'll be able to negotiate now with that alderman and make sure that that alderman is taking care of our community.
Talk about the difference between yourself and the other candidates that are running for the committeeman seat. What sets you apart from other candidates?
I would think that one thing that I would say is I'm 100% just for the community. My pledge is that there will be no committeeman in the 29th Ward that's saying, I need y'all to do this for me. I want to have policy meetings, and we need to have these what do you call them, the brain
like brain trust, brainstorming sessions,
and bring people in, because it's policy that drives improved communities. And we need to have a strong, it's not the committeemen, it's the people that's working together that could bring more businesses in the community, that can invite. But when you have a committee person that's only concerned about the next election, that's a problem. That's only concerned about the next election, you're gonna have a problem. I mean, that's what the community is suffering from. And so you need to have people that's intelligent, more intelligent than the committeemen, that could come in and really make things happen and give people a seat at the table, you know. And I think that what I see in politics a lot, politicians sometimes are afraid to let people in that they think that may be a threat to them. And as long as we have that type of nonsense going on, we are not going to have any success on the west side.
Talk about the future. What do you think, what do you see as the future of leadership? And we'll just make it specific to the west side. You've mentioned about the notion of individuals feeling threatened by other people because maybe they're afraid of someone running against them or what have you. What do you see as the future of leadership? I guess from a realistic standpoint, but what you would like to see for leadership on the west side of Chicago?
Well, what I would like to see is real change. I would like to see the west side politics go in a whole different direction and go from political meetings to policy meetings, from politicians only meeting to talk about who we're going to endorse, to people organizing together to go to Springfield to lobby for more money for the 29th Ward for the west side. People get together to lobby to go to Cook County to the board meetings to lobby for the West Side for business grants and business opportunities. People get together to go lobby for money and opportunities at the city council meetings. That's what it's about. I mean, it's not about having political meetings. I really don't want political meetings. They do no one any good. In fact, it only hurts the community. People don't have time to come to community meetings to just talk about how we're gonna take over the West Side. They've been taking over the West Side forever, and look what we got. So that's what I think. I think that we need to have a real, I mean, what I see here is Coalition of Black Community Organizations. That's what we have to have. We have to have a real organization of people that's about building up the community and not building up an organization. And that's what you'll get with me. You'll get someone that's talking about building up the community and not building up the organization. In fact, as the committeeman, I mean, I would not even want to be the president of the organization. It would be just the fact that it would go back to the way government was supposed to be established. We send you there and you carry our agenda. And that's the way it'll be.
So that the election is days away at this point, and you sort of shared your vision for leadership and your vision for the West Side. What happens on March 15th? I mean, we have the Democratic primaries, well, we have the primaries in general, whether Democratic or Republican. We have the state's attorney's race coming up. We have many of the local seats that are coming up. What happens on March 15th? What do you think is going to happen on Tuesday? And then what happens the day after the election?
So I know what's going to happen, and I know people are going to realize that my name is not on the ballot for a Democrat ward committeeman, and they're going to write my name in. They're going to click right in, and they're going to type in LaShawn for the next Democrat ward committeeman. This is the 50th year plus of Lyndon Johnson forcing Congress to do the Voters' Right Act. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that people will understand the power to vote and how much was given and come out and vote in numbers. We don't have to have President Obama running because he's here and he's going to be gone, but our problems are going to be still here and they're getting worse every day. And I think that everyone knows just how powerful the black vote is because they want it. And they only want to deal with us during election time. And as soon as the election is over, now our concerns are no longer on the table. We voted President Obama in, they voted Rahm Emanuel in, and they voted all the other people in, and we have people right now that have their agenda on the table and they can't vote. Now, we are American citizens and our agenda is not on the table. And so I'm hoping that people understand that voting is power and people have died for it. It seems like this is the same thing that our parents was telling us. It's still here. And I think that with votes, and if we could turn out votes in the 29th Ward, I think that's going to bring revenue into the community and respect. And that's what real organization will do. So people will not be worried about the committeemen trying to get elected to the next office or whatever. They know that the truth is we're fighting for real change. We're not fighting for garbage cans. We're fighting for real change. And I think that's another thing that the alderman does. They will make you think that all you deserve are garbage cans. And so they want to be your committeeman so they can give you garbage cans. Well, that's their job anyway. They want to give you, they want to be your committeeman so that they could fix your light. Well, that's their job anyway. So I think that the people will write in LaShawn Ford. I'm committed to the community.
Final thoughts as we head into the last sprint to the election. What are your final thoughts that you want to convey to the people?
You know, what I find most disturbing about my campaign, the write-in campaign that I legally got on the ballot without my name, but people can write me in. I find it disturbing that people think black people are too stupid to write someone in. Oh, they don't know how to write people in. I mean, give me a break. They don't know how to spell your name. What do you mean they don't know how to spell my name? My name is spelled LaShawn Ford. I mean, you're telling me they don't know how to. So I find that very disheartening that people would think of black people like that. They don't say that about whites, that, oh, they don't know how to, but they say, you know, that community, you think they would know how to do it? Of course they know how to do it. And if they don't write me in, that means I didn't get my message across. It's not the community's fault. So I just hope that they take the time and go through the ballot and make the best choices and get to the end of the ballot and click write in LaShawn Ford and vote yes for the referendum that we fought so hard to get on the ballot to make the Voting Rights Act explicitly stated in the Constitution. So that's something that I fought to get the petitions, and they were certified. And so now people in the 29th Ward could vote to tell Congress that we should make the Voters' Rights Act part of the Constitution explicitly, so we don't ever lose our right to vote.
Well, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you so much for sharing this time.
Thank you.
And for the work that you continue to do in the community on behalf of the community. It's a pleasure to interview you.
Thank you, Dr. Enyia.